Have you ever had a gopher come in and completely bring chaos to your personal space? That's the story I'm going to begin with today for our channeled messages. But first, we're going to clear our space. May only love, truth, and light, peace remain. So a couple of days ago, we had a gopher get into the garage at night, and he got stuck in the garage. And so what he did was he started trying to chew his way out of the garage door, and he chewed his space and was chewing up into it. And so when my husband got up for work the next day, there was like styrofoam and stuff all over the floor. And he left the garage door open. He tried to get it out. That very same gopher made a home in my garden. And I was sitting outside a couple of days ago in my chair, having my quiet time, and this gopher came up just to the left of me, and he was on his hind legs, just looking at me. And I was like, what in the world? He was there forever. And finally I started talking to him, and I'm like, you don't need to be here. This isn't your home. Eventually he got up and he ran into my garden and proceeded to eat my moss roses. And then when I walked over there, he ran over to the strawberries where he had a home. So the reason I'm telling you this is because he was a messenger. And he'd been there for a few days. This was after the garage door. And at this point, my husband's got totally not having it. This is not the first time he's run into a gopher in our yard. And so I did let the gopher know that I appreciated his message. I'd looked it up, but essentially I decided, I was in the yard and I was like, I'm gonna ask him what he wants. I'm gonna channel him. And so I did that, and here was his message. And when you tune into my readings, you're going to see a lot of papers, a computer, notebook. I'm a scribe, so I write. When I get messages, I write. If it's a notebook that's handy, whatever the case may be. And so I'm not completely organized, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But when I channeled the gopher, this is what he said. I came as a disruptor of the surface, a reminder that what lies beneath also matters. I showed you where softness is needed and what you're protecting. I did not come to destroy, but I came to reveal. He was drawn to the moss roses because it represented tenderness, quiet life, and healing. These moss roses I love, and I have them. They're beautiful. He liked the red ones better. I'm gonna say he really got after the red ones. But I have these moss roses in honor of the rose lineage and Archangel Sandalphon was my intent. So he was asking me, are you truly claiming this space? Are you guarding the softness that you've cultivated? And his digging was symbolic of a mirror. What's been gnawing at the roots of your peace, slowly and subtly? So that's a good question for all of us. What has been gnawing at our peace lately? Those are the things we're trying to get rid of right now. We're letting go. So I'm going to tell you how it's been for me lately. Even, this last full moon kind of completed what began back in January with the full moon. And it felt to me like a severe kick in the butt. And it's been happening for like this whole year. But it's been a struggle even lately for me. There's so much energy and anxiety. Whether I'm outside, I just get hit with waves of it, and it's collective. And so I was asking my guides too. I asked them, is the anxiety all mine? And what my soul showed me was that there were 3 layers. The first, and 2, I just want to say I wake up often in the morning with I had been waking up with so much anxiety that I'd be spending the first hour or 2 just like trying to come down. You know, I'd go outside, I'd do breath work, just get quiet and talk it out, talk to myself just like, this isn't mine. But I know that many of us who are super sensitive, like I am with the chaos in the world, we're feeling it. That day that the tragedies struck in Texas, I was in the garden and I was singing a song, and I, all of the sudden, out of nowhere, and I think I did a video that day too. I don't know if I know I was talking about the roots, and of the weeds, and we'll talk about that again today, but I was overcome with so much emotion. I could not even explain to you exactly what it was, but I just started crying with the earth. And it was intense, and I could feel the living beings of the earth and Mother Earth with me crying. I know that sounds crazy, but it's what happened. And Mother Earth wants what we can do for her at this time. She's changing with us. She's evolving as well. And what she needs from us is remembrance, to remember her, love her, and work with her. We can send her love. When things go wrong in the world, instead of becoming completely fearful and sending energy of fear out into the world, we can take a step back. We can get quiet. We can cultivate peace from within. And we can send intentionally love and peace out to those areas, whatever's going on, sending it out into the world, first cultivate it in ourselves, and then let it expand with our breath. That is more powerful than anything. And so back to the anxiety though, there's 3 parts that I was shown. And I don't know if you've been feeling like during these times, I was feeling super heavy in my heart, just like, and the pounding. And there's not always a specific reason that you can pinpoint, just like that day in the garden. The first is the body. It feels like a buzzing in the chest and shallow breathing. So watch yourself if you find yourself, because I do it, holding your breath. Try to consciously breathe intentionally, taking deep breaths, coming back to yourself, to your center. The next layer is the psyche of the mind that shows itself as loops, the what if, the future plannings, what we're worried about for the future. Many of us we're changing. And if we're not in the midst of it right now, it's becoming nearly impossible for those things that are not meant to stay on our path with us to remain. It just is. So we need to ask ourselves, what will it take? Like, if you think about your life in peace, what will it take for you to feel peace and grounded and happy? Try to picture that for yourself, what it would be for those things. Like we were talking about, what's been gnawing at you. What would it feel like if those things that have been gnawing at you were gone? What steps would you have to take to get there? We're at a time when it's very difficult and many people might give up. But those of you here on this channel, We didn't come to get up this time. We didn't come to be martyrs this time. This time we came here to remember and embody and serve while we're being served. It's not easy. I haven't made a video for a week. I've been, and we're here for each other. We're all pieces of the same puzzle. We are. So when I'm feeling under the weather one day, somebody else is going to be making a video to help so we can connect in that way and I can listen to them. So it's a give and take as well. All right, I keep interrupting myself with what I'm saying here, so I'm sorry. We were on the collective. The third thing is the collective anxiety. It can feel like sudden waves with no clear trigger. And so we can help ourselves with that. So when I asked my guides about this, my soul showed me those three things: the body, the psyche, and the collective anxiety that's out there. If you're sensitive, you're feeling it. My team's guidance was to assume that only possibly 30% is our own, the rest is the collective. And so the first thing we can do is these moments is affirm that and say, I release everything that is not mine. All that is not mine, I release. I return to source in light, and I walk with the light of my soul. And you may instantly feel tingling and warmth when you say, I walk with the light of my soul. So anyways, so another, here, I'm going to tell you what I did with this gopher before I move on to the next thing. So to complete this exchange, because the gopher is a messenger, in essence, a soul contract, right? He came to show me something that I needed to see in the moment. So I spoke to the gopher and the guardians of the land. I wrote down what I was going to say and to share with you. I said, thank you, Gopher, spirit of the gopher, for your message. You reminded me to guard what is soft, to pay attention to what lies below. I honor the role you played, and I release you now. Your work here is done. May you find a new home with peace and purpose. Doing this made my boundaries sovereign because I consciously chose to close the soul agreement with love and firmness. I said this for 3 days out in the garden. I have not seen the gopher back, so I honored him. My soul team's message was that we are learning, and we've learned. So we've been on this path. We have learned to protect what is sacred. Now we're learning to tend what is sacred without being overrun by things that are not. And then with things that are not, without being overrun by things that are not. And that's back to the weeds. My garden has probably never had, here and there it does, but it's got a lot of weeds this year, and it's taken a lot for me to catch up with it. But the weeds represent our thoughts and those things that no longer belong. So the wild garden. The lesson: to love what grows naturally while still discerning what belongs. The wild garden mirrors our souls. The weeds represent thoughts, patterns, or energies that thrive in chaos, but don't fully nourish the path. The bunnies and the deer are messengers of softness, vulnerability, and beauty, but also boundaries. The bunnies multiply fast. Deer eat the tenderest shoots. So even the sweetness must be watched. We need our discernment. We don't have to control the garden, but we do need to claim it. This is our sacred garden of our soul. It's ours to bless, to shape, to walk with intention. We are also no longer seers, just seers of nature. We are nature's keeper. The earth does not ask for perfection, only to remember her and touch her as we are. She feels where we're at, the pain, the grief, the joy, and she knows. For me lately, it has been bittersweet even to work out in the garden. I have had so many changes. I have been here for 26 years. The garden has always been my special place. But I am not the woman who I was when I planted the garden, when I first planted that garden. I'm not the same. And when you cry to the earth, work with her, or even connect with the tree, you're actually doing ancestral work. You're blessing the roots. You're softening the land to hold the next version of us. We're reuniting with the part of us that's been waiting in the soil. I have been seeing a lot of 7s lately, 8s, 9s, 1s. Yesterday and today I saw 7, 11, 7. Actually, I saw 77 3 times both days. This is a triple spiritual alignment, deep soul activation, and confirmation that we're walking the seer's path. And then I had some fairy cards too I wanted to bring out as well. But if you're seeing 1212, 733, yesterday I also saw a lot of 33s. So just keep note of that. And if you want to look up the numbers, just feel what resonates for you when you read them. 1212, I believe too, that is, and many of us are star children, star seeds. So we're going through a lot of activations. We never get more than what it's always divinely planned. It's never more than what we can handle in any one sitting, at any one time. But it can feel very tumultuous and it can feel very intense. So what I've been experiencing is activation, and then there's integration, and then you almost think you're back to, you might have a day where you're like, oh, this is great, and all of a sudden you just get hit with it again, something again, insecurities, all sorts of these things that seem to get in our way. Self-talk, talk to yourself, because we are worthy, we're worthy. We have been preparing for this for lifetimes. It's not a mistake that we're here doing this right now. It's not. And if we were not prepared and if we were not right for what we're here to do, we wouldn't be here. So keep going. Keep going with me. Don't give up. I wanted to mention too. So also, I was pulling cards last night. This book, this tiny little Fairies Oracle deck and guide. This was my very first deck of cards that I ever got, and I was pulling cards. But when I came down here, there were 2 cards that fell onto the floor. One is Dream On. This is Meg. She was the leader of the fairies, I believe, before Thistle, if I'm saying that right. I can read it too. But anyways, she gives us the message that to remember our dreams, that we've had for so long, and the world has told us that they're not right or we can't do them or anything like that, but hold on to those dreams. And we are getting help in the night. If you're needing help with integration, do ask. Ask your star family, ask your angels, guides. They're always here to help. Oh, and then actually I wrote 2. Where did I put that? The Jinn card. Then there was the Jinn, up in smoke. Looks kind of creepy, doesn't it? But no offense by saying that. The Jinn card echoes that something unseen is being cleared to make space for the higher path. So we need to trust that. And right now, also, there's so much going on behind the scenes. Our guides, our angels, our star family, they're moving mountains for us behind the scenes, even if we don't know it. So our main thing we need to focus on is to keep just moving forward, knowing the one step at a time, because we're actually being asked to have faith. We need to follow our intuition. If we follow our intuition, we're following our soul, and our soul knows the way. Always, if you've ever had deja vu, I don't know if you're having moments of deja vu or remembering, I am, aside from the numbers, all the synchronicities, the animals, the eagle. I had, in 1 week, I had a gopher, a porcupine, a raccoon, and a skunk in my yard. And I have never in my life seen a raccoon, a skunk, or a porcupine in my yard. And those messages were reminders of burrowing deep, protecting yourself, honoring your sacred boundaries, and just trusting. We prepared for this before we came here. We knew what path we'd take, and if we went off path, so be it. If we happen to do that, because the soul does not come to this earth without having a plan B or a plan C, because we're always going to get there if we follow our soul, always. So I end, the Jinn card was on page 77 also, so that was another sign. But anyways, I woke up to these cards on the floor. So they were meant for us. This reading's getting a little long, so I'm going to say thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to have you here. Sending you many blessings. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.